What's going on, guys? Junior here, Custom Offices TV on the YouTube, and today we have another spotlight for you. This is Dustin Johnson's 2014 Chevy Silverado 1500, made to copy CO2, but better. Let's go check it out.
Trucks decked out, rollin' through the wood and it flexed out. Rims so big and the windows black, got the line bar lit up, double chromed out stacks. Yeah, we love to get them dirty, but still they so clean. Custom Offsets, team stances, the team, we on top of it now. We ain't never gonna fade, so you better get ready, we're taking over the game.
All right, guys, so starting the wheel and tire setup on this bad boy. He's got the 24x14 -81 offset ARKON Lincolns. These are obviously the gloss black and milled. Lip test, let's get there first because they're Lincolns. They've got the biggest lip in the world. I think they might have one of the biggest lips as far as wheel goes, to be honest with you. All right, so looking at the lip on these 14 wide ARKON Lincolns, you can see that if you kind of go between these spokes, I don't know where I'm going. If you go between the spokes here, you can see that there's a ridge right here. You can kind of see it. There's a very black wheel, so it's hard to tell. You have a like 7, 8, probably 8-inch lip on these bad boys. The bill is 6 inches. You got about 2 inches to spare. So a full 8 inches between the spokes. But really, these endless lips kind of have, like, you have, look at all that room. You have like a 14-inch lip because you have a 14 wide, bro. But if you go here in front of the spokes and kind of check that out, you have about 5.5 inches of lip there. And the reason for that is this is a concave styled wheel with the lip as well. So it's more of a hybrid style. So it's got some concavity here to the front of it, which that's going to eat up your front lip. But with the way these ARKONs are designed, you have a lot of spacing between the spokes to really just give it that endless lip look. Super clean, simple design. These are proper directional as well. So you'll see that the other side of the truck doesn't match this side. They both actually angle this way. Most normal wheels put these on this side. The other ones on their side will be angled the other way, kind of going like this. Whereas these ones are both angled like this because you have a left side and a right side. Pretty neat feature. In addition to those, he's wrapped those in the Radar RTs in a 35 13.5 R24. Pairing these up here, if you look down the side, it sits pretty square. There's, I mean, a little bit of stretch you could say, but overall, very square setup. He absolutely loves these Radar RTs. He's one of the first that's been running them here at the shop, and he loves them. He convinced me to buy him for one of my Broncos, and I think there's a couple others running them as well now. So he absolutely loves these RTs. He swears by them. Out of all the vehicles he's ran custom wheels and tires on, this is his favorite setup. So take it for what it's worth. John Nance, come in here. How much poke do you think this wheel and tire setup has?
Enough.
All right, so looking at the poke on this wheel and tire setup, he's got the 14 wides, he's got the 35 13.5s. You can see that in relation to the fender, it probably comes down actually pretty much halfway. So really you have about 7 inches. Obviously it's a 14 wide, so 14 inches, half of that's 7 inches of poke on these. So if you look down the side of this thing, you can see that he's got 2-inch spacers in the rear as well to line it all up, and it looks solid. 7 inches of poke all the way around, front and rear, otherwise he'd have his front track width a little bit wider than the rear. So 2-inch spacers, flushes that all up, and it looks damn good. He's also got that paired with a Belltech 7 to 9-inch coilover lift kit system set at 7 inches. Now, he has a whole build series on this, so if you want to see all the details and the nitty-gritty behind this build, you can check that out. We'll probably have the link down below here or up here if you're on YouTube. It'll be in the description. But if you look down here at the radius arms, whatever the hell these things are, they're powder coated like a dark gray metallic color. You can see the drop brackets are as well. And then the front cross member as well. So it's all a very black, and then his suspension, he went with like a dark gray color, which I think really helps accent it so it doesn't all just blend in and look black. Kind of gives it a different look underneath while still looking good. So that's the full kit, how it comes from Belltech. There's already some customization and color going that if you want that to be the colors you want to rock on your truck, you're good to go. Or obviously you can always take it, powder coat it yourself outside of that, but Belltech does supply that right out of box. So you've already got some custom colors kind of going on that you can work with. The kit, he basically set to 7 inches because he wanted to fit in his garage, and it fits by about that much. So he's debating on going taller, but he doesn't need to because it doesn't rub. Reason it doesn't rub is because he's got these body armor front and then rear bumpers as well, but obviously the rubbing only matters as far as the front goes. So you can see that here, he's got it just as the textured black. He's got cubes in here as well, and a light bar. He's got those all tinted to kind of finish off the murdered out look. And then headlights, he's got the Morimoto heads, which these look like the 16 to 18 body style. His goal with these was to kind of compete with CO2, which was his goal, dream truck. He wanted to build a blacked out version of it. So he went with Morimoto heads and tails to kind of give that aftermarket look. And in doing so, he actually upgraded to the newer style looking headlights, which I know Sean kind of commented on that he liked the other headlights better just because it was very squared off. If you guys didn't know, the 1415s are very square here. The 1618s have the little curvy top and bottom. So Sean preferred the very blocky look, and that's why he went with the factory ones with just some paint on the housing around him. But Dustin decided to go with the Morimotos, which are a little bit different styling. It's got a wrapped grille as well to kind of give it that full blacked out look from front to back. Going on the side, obviously can't miss the bullet antenna he's got in here as well. He's also got boost auto tow mirrors with the LEDs inside of there as well. 15% tint all around, so if you look at the side of this thing, it is blacked out, like black top to bottom, side to side, all that fun stuff. You can kind of see he's got his sponsors here as well. He's got them in a matte black down the side. It's kind of dirty right now. I mean, we're in Wisconsin, it's winter still in the middle of March, so nothing new there. And then if you look, he's got the rough country side steps as well. So if you watch these things come down and go back up, they swing out. Look at that, woo-wee! So this is Rough Country's version. Obviously AMP also has their version as well, but there's different technology behind each of them because they each need to do their own thing. They're all different patents, all that fun stuff. So Rough Country's swing down and outwards versus just coming straight down like the AMP steps do. But still function the same, still look good. These actually have 3 mounts as well to them just because it's such a long board for a crew cab. Coming to the back here, obviously he's got the same wheel and tire setup in the rear as well. He's got more moto tails on this thing as well. He's got them in the smoke. They are infinity mirrored. So if you look at the tails, they've got like a mirroring system inside of them to kind of give it like an infinity mirror, never ending look. And it's pretty sweet. I actually like the way these things look. Like I said, he's got a body armor rear bumper on here as well. And then he's got a Flowmaster Outlaw dual exhaust on this thing. So we'll fire it up. We'll get some shots of that. He's also got a third brake light. Everyone's got a third brake light, but his is aftermarket. And then to kind of round it out, he's got a tonneau cover trifold on this bad boy as well. As far as trimming goes, like we said, there's nothing up front. You can see that we cut away the fender valance here to allow, typically it'd hang down to like right here, right? So chop that off, float with the bumper, looks good. In the back, we did have to do a NorCal, had to cut back here, pound it back. You can see kind of it flows inward there. Just to make sure there's no rubbing with the lift kit set to 7 inches and the 14 wides with the 35s. In addition to that, he does have an 8-piece black label lighting rock light kit, which lights up at night, looks awesome. So that's pretty much the whole truck. That's the fitment, that's how it all goes. We're gonna jump in this bad boy now, do a driving review, see how that Belltech coilover system rides with the 24s and the 35s. Let's go. All right, so driving review, really what we're looking at is how the whole setup on this truck rides. So we'll kind of go around the block a little bit, take around the highway. We got some pretty rough.
Hi.
Buckle up, buckle up. Anyways, so we're gonna go around the block and take it on some back roads here and then jump on the highway. We have a really shitty highway right here outside the shop. I was just in Lawson's truck on that earlier today, so we'll hit that same highway and hopefully it won't ride like a lumber ass wagon.
Really?
Yeah, your truck sucks. All right, so first things I'm noticing while driving is this thing is super smooth. The tires are quiet as well. We're going 40, 38, and there's just a little bit of hum, which is just like a normal tire. So that's super cool to like hear and see is that these RTs are actually quieter than an MT would be. It's basically eating all the little divots in the road and just kind of absorbing them. These Belltech coilovers that are on here are actually made by KW, which is based out of Germany. So like super fancy Euro car stuff. They also make a lot of coilovers for cars. So taking all of that into their Belltech kits then, which are available for trucks, obviously, they have a lot of that same technology in here. So when you're looking at their coilovers, they actually have a dual spring system, and there's really just a small soft spring to absorb a lot of that initial impact when you're driving, and that's called a tender spring is apparently the term for it. And that's going to take a lot of it out of it so that you have a shorter main coilover spring up top, which you can then run at a higher spring rate, meaning that you're not going to have a lot of slop and like really soft long spring that you're driving on when you're going down the road. You've just got a shorter, heavier duty spring, and then you've got that tender spring to kind of absorb a lot of what you just find in bumps along the road. So hitting all these bumps and stuff, the truck is handling all of it phenomenally. There's no issues. This thing's driving fantastic. We're on some decent back roads right now, so it's taking all of them in stride and it's doing extremely well. This truck handles good too. You definitely feel lifted in this thing. So you got 7 inches of lift, 35s. You feel taller than every other truck on the road while still having a manageable truck that you're able to easily drive. We're gonna get on the highway here in a second and see how that handles, because basically the way our highways are made around here are just giant chunks of slabs of concrete or cement, I don't know the difference. And you just drive down the road and you hit every single one of them and your wheelbase gets into a groove and you basically just do this. And your truck just jolts back and forth. It's awful. Ask Lawson, he drives it every single day to work. Alrighty, here we go. It's D-Day. I like his exhaust too, because you can hear it decently as you're driving, but it's only when you get on it. When you're just driving around, it's got a good little rumble to it, but it's nothing crazy. All right, so you can still feel the chunks of the pavement and kind of the little bit of jerking, but the coilovers are eating up absolutely all of that, and this thing's riding. Lawson's truck was horrible on this road. My Silverado with cranked keys is also horrible on this road. This truck I am fine with on this road because this road is awful. And even in cars with little wheelbases, you can still feel it. I'm sure you can kind of see the pulsating that it does, but the other thing to keep in mind too is that with coilover systems, you kind of have to wait for the coilovers to settle because you have a shock there with a spring around it, and it's going to be super tight and higher tension out of the box. After you drive it for a while, it's going to kind of settle in. So he's had this thing for probably like 500 miles at this point. He's barely had this truck done, and we've used it for 3,000 videos. But the other thing to keep in mind too is not only is the height going to change a little bit because it's going to settle, it's going to lower a little bit. Even there's a manhole and just kind of went over it and absorbed it. Like a car would almost. It's not driving like a lifted truck. It's driving like how your daily driver car would drive, I think is the best way to describe it. And it's comfortable for what it is with how crappy I know this road is. But with those coilovers, they're gonna eventually settle over time. So that's the nice thing about a 7 to 9 inch adjustable kit is Dustin's able to take that collar and crank it up a little bit once it settles to get that little extra height. Once it kind of figures itself out as where it's gonna sit for height, and go from there. So you really have 2 inches of adjustability, and if you want, you can go 9 inches out of the box. And then with it settling, ride quality is also gonna go up as well because you don't have as tense of a spring. It's kind of settled in a little more. You have a little bit more travel to it. It's gonna ride a little bit better. So this thing can really only get better from here, and that's super exciting to see because I'm already liking this kit for what it is. All right, guys, so that's all we have in this 2014 Chevy Silverado 1500 7 to 9 inch adjustable Belltech coilover system, 24x14 ARKONs, and 35-inch radar RTs. We also had a driving review in here, obviously, as you guys can see. So if you like that, like kind of our thoughts on that, or if anything else you want to see in these spotlights, drop a comment below, let us know. And as always, thanks for your support. Make sure you subscribe, youtube.com/CustomHouses TV.